Friday night was rough because we made it rough, and not to take anything away from St. Lawrence, they played great, but we just didn't show up to play. Not halfway through the game, we warmed to the task, made a little run, a little push, made it 3-1. I thought we carried the play maybe the last 5 minutes of the second, carried it over to the third, got the goal, and then the backbreaker on Friday night was after we scored. We're in the hunt now. Crowd's into it. Within the same 40 seconds later, they came down and scored, and now it's 4-1. And geez, it's that mountain just grew right back to where it was. And the guys kept going, but Saturday, much better performance. I thought we were full marks for the win from the drop of the puck right to the very end, right through. It's interesting. We kept talking about playing 60 minutes and how important it was. Well, it turned out to be 60 and change to get that win. But the guys were full marks. We really limited shots. I just thought we were good in all three zones.
You're back at home this weekend to play CCHA opponent in Minnesota State, who they've undergone a lot of changes this year, but they're still a very good team.
They are a very good team, and while they're sub 500 right now, you've got to look at who they've played. They played North Dakota, St. Cloud. I mean, they've had a real challenging schedule. Watching them on video, there's a lot of things that haven't changed. They compete really hard. So it's once again another good Minnesota State team that's fairly aggressive, gets up and down the ice well, fairly physical. So anyways, it'll be a great test. I mean, we'll have to be on top of our game all weekend.
You started CCHA play up at Northern with a good series. How important is it in the second series to get back acquainted to the CCHA teams and put together a really good effort?
Well, I think it's important that each and every weekend is to come away with points. It's easier said than done, but I like that at Northern that the second night or the first night whether we won and so while you want to get every point that's available, you got to make sure each weekend, even if things aren't going well, you got to find a way to get points, and then somewhere along the line you got to find a way to get sweeps. But it kind of starts with Friday night. We got to be ready to go right from the beginning and not warm to the task, and then hopefully you get the win there and it rolls over to Saturday.
And Coach, just talk a little bit about that last win you had. It was a 2-1, grinded out, won in overtime. I think I would say that that's the first truly low-scoring game you have all season. And how important is to win like that, especially going up against an opponent like Minnesota State, where years past it's always very, very, very tight and low scoring.
Yeah, it is, and I think it does bode well. I'd like to see us score more goals. Everyone would, but. We were scoring more early on, but I think that the goals will come. I think we have enough talent throughout the lineup. But what been very concerned with is our defensive play, from our structure in our own zone, our structure coming back into our zone, and then the puck management. So we're creating turnovers in the middle of the rink. They're able to turn around and attack us with odd man rushes, and so it's a combination of not being great with the puck. And then in our own zone, not being as difficult to play against as we would like. And we've put a lot of effort in the last couple of weeks at trying to get better, and I'm seeing progress. It's the other thing is we're starting to limit shots, but if you look, we give up. There's rankings on it. I think we're 7th in the league in terms of giving up quality scoring chances. And yet we're probably 3rd in the league giving up shots. So what it says is when we make a mistake, we make a big mistake. And I think, we're trending the right way in terms of starting to limit the shots on our goal. And that is directly correlated to possession time, too. The fewer shots you give up, the more often it is that you're possessing the puck. But we got to make sure that when we make mistakes, it's just we're not giving up really good scoring chances, and that impacts our goaltender save percentage. We have 2 really good goalies, and yet their save percentages aren't as high as what you would expect them to be. And I think that's more of an indictment of our team defense than it is on our goaltenders.
And as you're talking about right there, controlling the puck, not giving up the puck, and it seems like it's more prevalent that you need to do that like when the puck is in your zone as opposed to when you're attacking them. Obviously, it could give up those easy goals to them.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And for it's funny, you go back about 3 years ago when we were struggling, well, it seemed like we were in our end of the rink. If you could think back to that inordinate amount of the game, I was always harping about we've got to play the other team's end of the rink. It's always in our end. We don't possess the puck, and you can see it, and that's why I know we're on the right track. We're possessing it more now. We're sustaining play in the offensive zone. We're not just in for a line rush and then right out of the zone. We're in for a line rush, and then all of a sudden we may have a minute and a half span where we're really peppering the other team. So it takes time, but I see some really good things, and that's why when you have a night like Friday night where I felt like we took the beginning of the game off, it kind of makes you sick to your stomach, if you will, because there's only so many opportunities to get better, and that was an opportunity lost.
And then so it seems a theme of this year is kind of splitting the weekend series. You split it against Miami, and then tied Western, and then with Northern and Michigan. Kind of how can you guys get over the hump of winning 2 games on the weekends?
Yeah, it's a maturity thing, and it's I think it was Northern where we won the first night. Now, obviously, last weekend we won the second night, but it's maturity in 2 ways. It's maturity and really being ready to roll and competing hard when the puck drops on Friday, and then it's maturity that if you have a successful Friday night, that it hasn't quenched your thirst for victory. You got to win at this level. You've got to be unbelievably competitive both nights, particularly when you play good opponents, and it's very difficult. And the other team loses that first night. If they're a good team, I mean, they're miserable. They want, and you really have to find a way to dig deep and be greedy. And I think once you start to learn that, and it's almost not individual maturity, but it's a maturity of a team. Once you start learning not to be satisfied and to stay hungry, I think you start stacking. You learn what it takes to win 2 on a weekend, and now you start talking about, hey, we're championship caliber. When you can put together, streaks of 4 or 5 games where you're undefeated. Now those were the earmarks, the hallmarks of our championship teams. You knew if we won on Friday, we were going to come and compete just as hard on Saturday. The guys weren't satisfied. And it's just, it's a learning process, I think. And the more often we can put ourselves in that position, it's certainly much better to win on Friday, and then worry about maturing into that second win than it is when you lose on Friday and it's just miserable Saturday.
That Friday night game, it's a tough one, but coming back into the locker room after the game and the next morning, we knew that it was going to be a better game and it was a better outcome.
As one of the leaders on this team, a veteran guy, your 5th season, what was your message to the squad on Saturday?
Just keep pushing and keep it consistent. Bounces are going to come if you just put your head down and go to work.
You got another CCHA opponent, your second of the season, coming to Big Rapids this year. This weekend, actually, Minnesota State. How important is it to get a good performance against them this weekend?
Oh, it's always good. They've been the past 5, 6, 7 years. I've always been in that top 20, top 10. So, you always got to bring your best game, and I think we're ready for that.
Your top line, as Stepan was just talking about, you guys have played extremely well to start this season. What have you guys been able to do to find success?
Like I said before, just keep it consistent and put your head down and go to work. Once you do that, everything follows, and you end up getting those good bounces.
And Coach a little bit while ago was talking about as great as the offense is doing, he's very, very happy, and he wishes that the defense could get a little better. Obviously, it's a work in progress. From your end, what do you see the defense, even maybe yourself defensively, what you can do to help the team out get better, especially coming up with a huge series coming up?
Yeah, especially with them. I know Coach Daniels has been harping on blocking shots a lot, so I know guys in practice all week have been left and right blocking shots, so hopefully that'll help us out a lot.
And then you guys kind of been splitting a bunch of your weekend series, 3 of the 4 that you guys have played. What can you guys do to kind of get over that hump and get 2 wins back-to-back on a weekend?
We just got to come ready Friday and play the game days Saturday and keep it consistent and don't let your foot off the gas pedal.
And then you guys are kind of playing a familiar opponent, CCHA. Last weekend you played St. Lawrence, who kind of was an unfamiliar opponent. Is there kind of a different way to prepare for a familiar opponent compared to an unfamiliar opponent?
Yes and no. In the end, it just comes down to who's coming to compete harder and who wants to win harder.
And can I just quickly ask you this? From what you see, obviously you play Minnesota a couple of times a year, and what makes them, from your view, very, very good and tough to play against? And what's the key? Obviously, you swept them last year. What's the key in beating them? Hopefully, getting another sweep.
Oh yeah, they're a good team. Like I just been saying, we just got to keep our head down. I know why they're such a good team is because, you know, they go through adversity and they come out on top. They're always playing the same game, so just keeping it consistent goal.
Yeah, I thought Friday night we had a bad start and kind of battled through that game on Friday, and Saturday we showed up to play, and I thought overall it was a good 60-minute game for us, and obviously we got the results.
As a veteran leader on this team, what was your impact after that loss on Friday night? What did you tell the guys coming into Saturday?
Well, we kind of just talked about it, come ready to play. Like, this can't happen on a Friday night, and come ready to play. We owed them after Friday night, and yeah, we came ready to play, and we got the results. Yeah, it's good.
You're riding a 4-game point streak as you head into this weekend series against Minnesota State. What have you been able to do personally to find success on the ice?
I think it's just my whole line. I think my whole line with Branchow and Menudo, we're playing really good hockey right now, and coach is there for us to tell us what we need to get better at and stuff like that. So I think we work together really well, and I hope we keep that up.
You have another home series this weekend against Minnesota State. Back in CCHA action, how important is it to put together a really strong performance this weekend?
It's definitely a big weekend for us. I think it's our second or maybe third CCHA weekend. I think on the second maybe. So, every point matters, and Minnesota State is always a good team. So we gotta come ready to play and put up a battle, and gotta be ready to play.
And just talk, as you were just talking about the play of yourself and your line. The other day, Coach had a lot of big praises for the play of your guys. And just tell me, how has it been out there with those fellow guys, and what's been going right as you guys seem like scoring every game?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have been playing together for quite a bit some time. Even like last year at the end, we played a lot together, and we're keeping that up this year. Try to stay really close to each other. Make the right plays. We kind of starting to build up that chemistry when we know where each guy is, and obviously Venuto is hot right now scoring, and so I'm just gonna keep giving him the puck so he keeps scoring. But absolutely, that our line's been good, and hopefully we keep that up.
And with that, do you feel that going up against Minnesota State, a team that has already been a couple of good teams in the country, and as well as yourself beating Minnesota, do you feel that you need to pick it up a notch? You guys going up against this Mavericks defense?
I think in general, obviously it's a bigger team for us to play than we've played maybe last weekend, but I think we usually play better when we play those bigger games. So I think that as long as we get every game, we gotta go out there and work hard. It's not just we can take a night off or anything. So we're gonna go out there and do our best, and hopefully results will come.
And you guys have split the weekend series in 3 of the 4 series. The tie against Western Michigan. What can you guys do to kind of get over that hump and win back-to-back games on a weekend?
We gotta come ready to play every night. Obviously, Friday we didn't do that. We had a slow start, and it just comes down to, we gotta do it both nights, not just one night.
And then, like you were saying, you guys kind of play up to the bigger teams. I mean, how nice is that to kind of go in, knowing you're kind of maybe the underdog in the scenario, but you have a chance to kind of get an upset?
It's definitely good. I mean, Cato is always a good team, but everybody remembers last year we swept them in their house, and they were a good team last year. They're a good team this year, and it's once you step on that ice, it's everyone's game. It doesn't really matter in college hockey whether you're ranked or whatever. You still gotta go out there and win the game.
Stepan, thanks for the time and good luck this weekend.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.